Hello friend, I just made a video about F-Log 2, sort of updating an old guide that I made for beginners to F-Log. And I want to make a quick video here about maybe the misconceptions about log. I need to qualify this video right out of the gate and say that this is not for advanced filmmakers. This is for beginners. This is a video purely for beginners because I've seen some things said online, because I've been in and around video for quite some time, and at one point in time, and in many ways still today, I feel like I'm a beginner. And I see the ways that things get talked about in the community, and no one doing it in particular. There's no big conspiracy out there. But I want to give a warm message to beginners that you don't have to feel scared or intimidated that you need to be using log. And if you want to be using log, that there are some warnings, there are some things that you should be aware of, that it's not just a magic button. And so anyway, this is not for advanced filmmakers. This is for beginners, so I'm speaking to you. And I want to start by saying that log makes you a better videographer. That's probably one of the biggest misconceptions that I feel prevalent inside of the video community, is that log will make you a better videographer, or that somehow using log improves the quality of your videos just by the sheer fact that you shot in log. And this applies across camera systems. This does not just apply to Fujifilm's F-Log. But the reason I wanted to make this video is because I want to encourage you that there are options outside of just using log profiles. You can get good films and make beauty out of Rec. 709 profiles, whether that is using the film simulations of Fujifilm, the picture profiles of Sony, or Canon's default recording modes. And so it's not necessarily about the file itself. If you're an advanced user, then this video is not for you. I promise that this advice is not relevant for you. Who I'm talking to right now is the beginner. And so the other one I want to tell you about, beginner, is that you don't just have to blow out log in order to get the best footage. You should still be careful about protecting your highlights. It can feel like after you've stopped shooting Rec. 709, or once you've graduated out of Rec. 709, whether that's your film simulations or your picture profiles or whatever, that you need to be blowing out your footage. You need to be shooting 2 stops overexposed or whatever in order to get the most out of log and maximize your dynamic range. And I would say to that, you still have to be very careful about guarding your highlights. And the reason why is because digital sensors, even with a logarithmic curve applied to the recording of the data, are still not really well suited for a smooth roll-off of highlight data. And so it just looks a lot uglier, honestly, if you have blown out highlights than some noise in your shadows. And so you need to do both. You need to learn your exposure tools. And that is the next piece of advice, is that using log does not mean you get to take other shortcuts. In fact, it probably means that you need to learn how to use your camera even better. So what I mean by that is the fact that when you're shooting log, you don't have suddenly a bunch more freedom to make mistakes. In fact, I would say you need to be careful not to make a bunch more mistakes, because you can't maybe see them right away. You can't maybe see the full effect of that mistake until you start color grading that footage later. Whereas with Rec. 709, shooting in a picture profile or Fujifilm simulation, whatever, you'll see on screen usually what mistake you're making. If you are way overexposed, if your white balance is way off, etc. Those sorts of things in a Rec. 709 profile viewed on the screen. Yes, I know that there are view assist tools on screens now, but you might not feel the full effect of that error when you're shooting log until later. Whereas with using a Rec. 709 profile, you're looking at your screen and you see right now that you are making a mistake. Another common misconception on a related note then is that somehow log will make difficult lighting environments or bad lighting environments better in post-production because you have more control over the image, is what's often stated. And I'm also not saying that anyone is out there, there's no big conspiracy to get beginners to feel bad about not shooting log, but it tends to be the case that professionals are talking about log and they know what they're talking about, and so then beginners feel the pressure that they need to be using it. And so the reason I bring this one up is because, for instance, if you are a wedding filmmaker and you're shooting in a hotel room where there is natural light streaming in and then there is a tungsten light flowing out of the bathroom and you have all these mixed light environments, log isn't going to save you there. Log potentially, when it's exposed correctly and white balanced well, will give you more freedom in post-production to be able to manipulate that information, so long as you've recorded enough data. Not all cameras give you enough data to be able to manipulate that file later without the file falling apart, or artifacting is what we call it. And so log is not going to save that situation. And again, back to my last point, in fact, that it might be helpful for Rec 709 profiles to be viewed on the screen and you just see what is happening and how it looks bad. And again, I know the view assist tools, but it might end up being easier when you're color grading to fix that log image, or less intimidating to fix that Rec 709 image, I should say, than the log image. And so that's something that I just feel like is well worth noting, is that it won't fix bad light or it won't fix ugly scenarios. Now onto a really random one, but the whole LUT world. I make and sell LUTs. That started when I started doing my own color grading and I stopped using LUTs, and this started when I started using Fujifilm and DaVinci Resolve and doing all of my own color grades. And I'm someone who's passionate about learning how to use tools myself. And so my recommendation here is, if you're going to embrace log, then I would say start by using built-in tools with DaVinci Resolve or technical LUTs from the manufacturer, and don't be inclined to go buy every LUT available for log for your camera. I say that because I'm someone who sells the LUTs, and they are not magic. And I know that that's been said before, but you might be inclined to think that if I shoot log, then I need to buy some log LUTs for this camera, for that profile, or whatever. And what I would say to you is start by using the free tools available to you, whether that's your camera manufacturer's technical LUTs or DaVinci Resolve's Color Space Transform. Use those things, see if those work for you. Learn how to use your own tools to color grade your own footage before just jumping into the purchasing of more LUT packs. And that relates a ton to why using Rec 709 is so great, is because it is much easier to learn how to color grade when you're learning on something that already has maybe the proper amount of contrast and saturation applied straight out of the camera. And so using those tools in Rec 709 environments with Rec 709 footage might be easier for you to learn what they do, how they work, than just diving straight into a log environment and trying to color grade that. Having said all that, I'm just continuing to build here and saying you need to practice. Log takes practice, just like everything else in the realm of video, whether that's lighting, audio, any component of the world of video takes practice. Log is no different. Learning when to use log, how to use log, how your specific camera uses log, whether that has limitations inside of certain recording modes. When do I have enough data and it starts artifacting with less data? And learning all those particular things with your camera. And when I say learning, I don't mean watching a YouTube video. I mean going and recording footage, practicing it yourself, experiencing those things and trying them for yourself in real world environments, not when you're on the paid shoot environment job site. So that practice element applies not just to color grading, but actually to using your camera in the real world and testing different modes and seeing how does it respond in this situation versus that situation. And so practice is really, really important, I think, too. So honestly, that's all there is for this video. I would love to hear from you below. If you are a beginner, tell me what you think about this. Or if you're an advanced filmmaker, do you agree or disagree? I would love to hear the discussion. I think it's a topic I'm passionate about because, again, once upon a time when I was a beginner, I felt like I needed to be using log to get good footage. And then at some point along the way, particularly when I started using Fujifilm, but even towards the tail end of my career using Sony, I started to question that and realize I can get beautiful Rec 709 footage that has taken me a lot less work in color grading. And I feel like I have more control over my color grades because I'm learning how to use these tools better, it felt like, than I was before. Now I'm someone who uses F-Log 2 on the Fujifilm cameras about 50% of the time, but I still very frequently use Cinematic Chrome, which is a picture profile for Fuji that I love. And I use that half the time as well, and frankly I have no preference in either direction. They both do different things for me, and I love them both a lot. And so I would love to hear from you. That's why I'm passionate about this topic. Leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, friend. Have a good day. Peace.